Okay, so I'm gonna make this my rapid expansion video of how my abilities rapidly came forward and my research and development and then into my codes. So in 2019, it was right after I first moved to where I'm at right now. After years of participating in planetary light work and personal light work and being a server to survive financially, because I was never able to get a home to where I would be able to create a healing room where I could bring clients in for massage or Reiki. So I was stuck being a server in a dead-end relationship. And just trying to become myself. Well, 2019, the Sirius Gateway of 2019, the summer of 2019, my vision accelerated and shifted to where I could where I started to see demons. I rescued a baby bird, which turned out to be a crow, which then threw me into a serious, intense shamanic journey. And I started to become very depressed and wanted to use my gifts to make money. I was tired of my serving job, and I was in a bad situation, and I'm still in, to where I don't have a vehicle. I'm riding a bike. My job was just right up the road. I could walk there in 10 minutes. So that's why I lived here and worked there, for this company, because I didn't have a license, or else I would have been like over in Disney area making better money at a more high class establishment. So I fell into like a deep emotional state, and there was a woman in California that was saying that she was having problems sleeping. Could anybody help her with this? Which I believe she was having these problems because her body was giving her an anxious warning system of the pandemic that was about to come a year later. So I offered to give her a distance Reiki session, which was going to be at night, but ended up being the next morning in the bathtub. And during the session, a lot of things happened. My vision opened up to where I could actually see her soul energetically, and her soul threw me into visions, which I had never experienced that. Those type of I've had visions here and there throughout my life, but never like that intense. and then like the little girl child part of her soul like broke off from the vision and basically came to me and wanted to be comforted by me and wanted to be held by me. So I rocked. Like, I could energetically feel this child. At first I didn't know what was happening, but I could feel that the child part of her was extremely traumatized. And so I comforted the child and finished the session with her. And when I communicated her about it, she basically broke down and told me that she had a severely traumatic childhood, abusive, and that really opened up my eyes to let me know that I had abilities beyond massage therapy and Reiki, that my healing abilities were, which I already knew that because I started speaking like language to myself probably like 2012 or 2013 when I threw myself into a daily meditation practice for years. During my meditations, I started to speak light languages, and I was having visions and out-of-body experiences and other dimensional experiences during my meditations. So I already knew that I had some type of light language activation ability that needed to be developed as well, and that really wanted to come out of me. I just never had there was so many things happening in my life, just one chaotic situation after another that never let me get safe and secure into the proper home to set up a healing room to take on clients, to do the work. So after having this very intense session with the woman in California, I decided to start a research and development project on the modality that I was developing through this session with her. There ended up being, I think, 12, and by the end, 13 women in this study. And then I opened up a men's study. There was a few men in there, including my son, and my brother, one of my brothers, which I worked briefly on him. I didn't get too intense with him because what was happening with my son was a little intense for him. So the work that I was doing is an extremely intensified shadow work, shamanic, Lemurian, soul work. So it really has an impact on the person who I'm working on, which brings up trauma and issues that they're trying to suppress, which could cause a lot of conflict within that individual if they're not ready to face those type of things that they have suppressed. So this was a free study. There was another a friend on Facebook who was going through the same emotional things that I was going through as well, and financial, and she really captured my heart, and I wanted to help her because I knew she was thinking about suicide. So I offered for her to enter into the study. I put an ad out on Facebook if anyone wanted to enter in. I had a couple of women from the Angel Medicine and Women's Circle that had been in Casadega for years, like 2009 to 2012 or 2010 to 2012. And to one of my best friends and one of her close friends, which I was acquaintances with, and then my mom, and then 2 women from South Africa and 1 from Australia, which she lives in Venezuela now, and then my friend, one of my other best friends, up in the mountains, her mom, I entered her and her mom into it, and then I actually, they weren't actually in the study group that I made, but I was working on them, and then I was also doing like rogue sessions on individuals that I wanted to like pierce into I wanted to check up on, that I had ordered services from in the past to help me, and so I was kind of trying to see where I was at with these women that I actually like giving money to. And so and then towards the end of the study, I worked on a Reiki master and a Grand Reiki master and my Reiki master. And then my study turned into a totally different thing once I got my codes, but which was like a year later. So this, my study, doing this work, I was foraging wild things and utilizing my crystals and whatever I had for my own self to break the magic off of myself and my soul. That I've been going through this for like 20 years. I seen a psychic like 20 years ago, or almost 20, about 20 years ago, and she let me know that I was cursed, and I was going to her for like 13 years, living in fear, giving her money. I must have gave her like $10,000 over that period. She said that all this work needed to be done with my soul, blah, 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 this, that, and I didn't know what else to do except believe her and give her money. So, I mean, I invested at least $10,000 into this lady to help me, and I was still in a fuck situation. So I decided that I needed to take it upon myself. I actually had 2 other professional spiritual workers doing a little bit of work whenever I could afford to pay them for a little thing, and then I figured that it was up to me to do this for myself. So I entered myself into the healing study as well. So it got into full swing during the Lionsgate. I was experiencing some really traumatic things working with these women, demons, dark entities, magic, very extreme visions. They're feeling their trauma, and just trying to understand like what I was developing and what this gift that I had was. So I was doing different types of techniques. Each woman was different, each soul was different, and what they were guiding me to do with their soul. And then I actually had a deceased baby daddy of one of the women in my study come through during her session when I was using my rattle. He broke through, and when I realized it was him, he was very angry and wanted me to take care of his son that he basically died in front of. He committed suicide, and his son had found him or whatever. And so I was trying to understand like what was happening, because my clairvoyance is different than what I see like on the TV and stuff, or with the popular clairvoyance. Mine is more energetic, and I'm given visions and stuff. It's not like I see them and see what they look like or anything, like their human body or whatever. I see more energies and like what their soul shows me. So this is a very intense time for me. I was working 4 days a week as a server at a job which, to be honest, I hated it. And then the rest of the 3 days I was like in my bathtub all day long, working on all these women and myself, experimenting beyond the veil and whatever was happening. Like, I went full force into this. I wanted to create a career out of this. And, you know, it was giving me a purpose to live as well, besides having, you know, my son. It was giving me a purpose to stay living here in a place which I wasn't happy. It's not the life that I wanted to live. So I fully focused on my modality, the alchemical soul baths. I was fully focused on that and trying to get reviews. I wasn't getting any reviews from the women that I think they really didn't know how to take like me or whatever, or what was happening and like what was being done. So I got reviews when I actually started working with other professionals, other Reiki masters, and then I started to get reviews, and then boom, COVID hit, which threw me into a panic of having to open up my website. The first website I built was kind of dark. It had magic and, you know, get rid of your demons now and all this. Like, I was like totally thought that I was like a demon buster, and that was my purpose, was to bust demons off people. So I was going through quite a bit, because the fury part of my soul, which is in the abyss, I have 4 aspects that I know of my soul that are stationed in the underworld. One is the fury, one is the scorpion, one is the fire dragon, and one is the Nagayama. So the fury was making itself known in the scorpion, which I didn't realize the scorpion was there at first. So the fury really made itself known and was coming up. And so I was adjusting to all that. I'm going to start another video because it's almost 20 minutes in. So part 2 of my abilities expansion next.